And see, we've been openly talking about the revolving door between Tether, the bond market, and Bitcoin and the US government. More and more information is coming out. I know there was a false article that was released the other day. But it's funny because the Wall Street Journal, which is a very big media outlet, released this information, and then they were told to pull it down. Isn't that crazy? But the funny thing is, basically, if you're investigating Tether, it would mean basically that the government, the DOJ, or the was it DOJ? I believe so. Yeah, was investigating itself, basically, because the largest holder of bonds is Tether. And it's crazy because other countries around the world are continuously offloading their debt, offloading their treasuries, their dollars. Well, if someone's offloading them, somebody has to be buying them. And the question is, like, who's buying them? Well, Tether is the largest buyer of US bonds. So I think it's very interesting. And every time Tether starts to print more money, Bitcoin goes up.
Yeah.
It's something there, guys, right? So let's go ahead and start with David, and we'll move to Ray and then Edo.
Well, I kind of take like Brad Garlinghouse's approach in this respect is that, Tether will probably be around, but I do think it's going to have a diminishing market share. I mean, we know that it's not able to comply with all the MiCA rules in the EU. So a lot of platforms in the EU are delisting, Tether as a stable coin in terms of trading pairs. I think that's absolutely going to have an impact. Whether or not Tether can actually survive a forensic audit, I guess, we've had all kinds of speculation. There does seem to be this unique parallel that whenever you see Tether being minted and printed and all this kind of stuff, that the price of Bitcoin just miraculously goes up. And it seems there is this revolving door between Tether and Bitcoin. Now, that might go way back to the origins of both, which I do think are, fairly dubious in terms of like where the origins of both of these, entities come from, in terms of like, Satoshi Nakamoto being anonymous. All of a sudden, Tether's on the scene with such a massive pot. Hard to even fathom when you consider you go down and you look at the, if you go to the headquarters of where Tether is, it's like the smallest little jankiest office that there is, and yet it's worth multiple billions upon billions. It just seems something is completely off. But either way, I do see that RLUSD is going to fill a big gap, and I think they are gunning for a lot of Tether's market share. That's kind of how I look at it for sure.
Great point, Ray.
Having spoke to Jack McDonald, the VP of Ripple's stablecoin division at Swell briefly, it was at the Faena when everyone was picking up their badges in preparation for Ripple Swell. So I pounced on Jack when I had the opportunity, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, what's status on RLUSD? Throw a dog a bone here, Jack." And he goes, "Ray, anytime. I mean, we're all just waiting for regulations," and that's it. And there was a article that even Circle had sent out or published yesterday, and it was basically to reinvigorate the awareness that they're ready to go public any moment. And so, and I think that that could set the stage for a huge IPO window. Revolving around stablecoin issuers or those that are leaning into the space, the Circles, the Ripples, others as well. And so the consensus, but that's to be determined, and we'll see. But as I hinted towards, I think players like USDC, RLUSD are going to play a significant role within certain jurisdictions, particularly here in the US. We'll see maybe like a Tether remain for outside those jurisdictions. But I mean, that's what I think the MiCA regs and the stablecoin regs will all define once they're in force.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if Tether goes down, that's going to be an inside job, right? In the same way that FTX was 100% an inside job. Well, I do have evidences, and unfortunately I can't give names here, but I came I came across, and I have to choose my words carefully. So I came across some documents that really led me to believe that Tether is not going to be around for that long as we think. And my only question in regards to how this transition, how this is going to actually play out, is this going to be a massive black swan event, or is going to be a gradual transition where real stablecoin and USDC are just, let's say, month by month, or actually every few days the transaction is going to, let's say, the liquidity is going to flow from Tether to real stablecoin. And I think USDC is also a massive player that's MiCA compliant. So in regards to Tether, yeah, someone brings in the comments page 10 of Tether white paper, which we already show here. I'm not sure if you have seen that, Ray, but they clearly stating on Tether's white paper that they could actually abscond with the customers' funds and they could disappear basically at any moment. That's explicit written on Tether white paper. And we all know that CTFC has already fined Tether in, I think it was over $30 million because they were lying about the USD reserve. So it's 100% not backed one-to-one to the US dollar. And I think Tether is not going to be around for that long. That's my thoughts on that.
You guys are all spot on. See, this is the best family I could ever ask for. I wish Vindel was here. But the good news is that more people move away from USDT. Hence to what you said, Edo, you're going to start to see all this money, and we're talking about trillions, right? Move into stable coins that are issued by Stellar and things like Ripple, right? That are working with regulators, working with governments, right? So that is really what's going to help evolve the dollar to what you said earlier, Ray. And as far as a black swan event, the biggest black swan event we could see, there's two of them. There are multiple actually, but two that are really in my sight is number one, the banking crisis as far as the real estate market. That's something we're not talking about today. Next week, we'll talk about it because it's the next big topic you're going to see in the mainstream. I'm telling you in advance. The second thing is the Tether stablecoin. If you want to see a real black swan event, if that peg collapses anymore, or we have some real issues like that, regulatory issues, and they're going to do it like an inside job, it will completely collapse the whole 26, 27,000 cryptos out there. It will collapse the whole market, and that will cascade into traditional financial systems, which will translate into more bank failures, et cetera, et cetera. Problem, reaction, solution. And then there are solutions out there that are already ready to go, and Ripple stablecoins are one of them. If you look at the articles that came out a few weeks ago, I posted on X, you look at the emerging economies, that's the BRICS nations, right? The emerging economies, they are turning to stable coins to stabilize their economies, their currencies. And I mean, that's all right there for people to understand. It's incredible, man. So
if I could make one comment that's just burning, I had the opportunity, from my former employment to have access to interesting conversations, and one of them was I asked an individual, I'm not going to give out any names, but someone that's very well known in the space, and I asked him, I said, what are your thoughts on Tether if they do, like you mentioned, lose the peg and the confidence, and we see a collapse in not just them but then Bitcoin? And he goes, I mean, that's what's going to happen. It's going to be a tactical demolition, and those were the key words. And so that echoes Edo's and your guys's your perspective as where this is going to be. This is a cooperative
right
move, I guess you could say.
I want everyone to see this, guys. I'm putting it on display here. I covered this. I wish it got more attention. Only 121 retweets. Damn. This should have had a few thousand. I'm telling you guys.
I usually just get that many likes.
The most important thing is understanding. I don't know, man. Look at this. Emerging markets embrace stable coins despite significant premiums, right? Stable coins have become essential for financial transactions, especially in regions. Okay. So if you look here, I even put it, even emerging markets are turning into financial technologies like XRP and XLM for stability as fiat currencies become unstable, indicating that these technologies are the key to stabilizing the economy in the future. And even last year, we saw a 50% surge in stable coins. Yeah. So I like what you said, Ray. This is 100% inside job. They are profiting as much as they can from us. And what they're going to do is collapse it when they're ready and have that new system ready to go.
Yeah.
See, 90% of the crypto market is all distraction. It really is. And that's why you got Bloomberg, you got MSNBC, Fox Business, you got all these guys putting so much money, like Mark Moss, Michael freaking Saylor, who, by the way, was a coke addict from 2001, lost billions of dollars in the dot-com thing. You think he's not going to make the same mistake again? Probably. It's not an accident, guys. I'm telling you, history is repeating itself, and the rich are going to get richer. The poor, there will be a predetermined solution.
Well, as a reinforcement just to that point, back in the late 80s, early 90s, the banking system globally could survive absolutely zero problem without the utilization of the internet. Well, now if you had even one day of total blackout, it's trillions of dollars of lost value. They become so reliant and dependent on it. And as we know, in terms of like actual physical cash, it's 5% or less for amounts that are on deposit. So this new transition that they're getting, and you're seeing the adoption of stablecoins, and stablecoin legislation has been pushed out by the BIS, the IMF, European Central Bank. All of them are pushing for this because you're absolutely right. Stablecoins, if you're seeing these major institutions getting into the utilization of stablecoins, how much longer is it going to be, do you think, that the whole financial infrastructure is going to be dependent upon the utilization of these stablecoins? So if we saw an unraveling, and this is where it's a double-edged sword, because I kind of think, they could allow a black swan where Tether literally implodes and liquidate, all kinds of, I think retail would be shaken so out, it's not even funny. And then, swoop in and bring in the change. Or they could literally allow the transition for it to slowly be diminished in terms of utilization, where it is absorbed by RLUSD, by USDC, and maybe RL, like you say, Verson, heard you say this, RL yen, RL this and that, all other, stable coins pegged to other fiat currencies, and allow that as a bridge, because, it depends how catastrophic they are wanting it to fall. This whole last go around, come on. I mean, we all know that was literally an engineered situation, because you cannot have a bull market, a secular bull market to the degree that we experience when you have every major industry on earth practically come to a screeching halt in manufacturing, in the shipment of goods, in services and everything, and yet have one of the biggest secular bull runs the world has ever seen. Well, that's central bank driven.
Yes.
So this is where I kind of think, hey, down the line, we don't know, but I honestly do believe that the system is now becoming dependent upon these things. And from the average person's perspective, yes, in this space, we're aware. How many people are really aware of the whole, stablecoin market? Not that darn many, that's for sure.
Well, it's funny. Can I put a final thought, and I'll let you guys speak? Is that I put a tweet out in 2022, and I said, interesting, this is a document from the World Bank. That's when Mindell and I shared this, and it said in their XRP and XLM, and I remember saying, should we talk about this? We didn't hear anything on stable coins for like 2 years. It's crazy. And now it's all just kind of coming out. This is part of that same document. I'll put a tweet out here. If you read through the whole thing, and I've read it like 3 times, guys, I get so bored. I have to sometimes read things, and it's like watching a movie again. How many times have you had to watch The Matrix to understand? And every time you watch it again, you're like, I didn't notice that, right? This same thing with the document. Now, the World Bank, inside the document, after talking about XRP and XLM as stablecoins, it put this out. Conclusion: it takes 2 to tango. And that's really where I formulated the whole theory on a dual currency system, which has also been spoken about in the past before. So I don't want to take credit on that. But it's very interesting how this dual currency system is actually going to be the very foundation for the new system. And everything seems to be built upon those rails or interoperable with. And that's what Edo was saying earlier. There's going to be a few blockchains, right? It's more than 1 or 2. And I've come to the same conclusion as you have, Edo.
And I already explained, I got that the multiple blockchains from a presentation that was made for the bankers. They actually made that in Italy. And you can guess which blockchain was at the center of the presentation, right? The XRP ledger as one of the thriving blockchains that would be around 5 years from now. And the presentation took place in like 2020. So I think the timeline is actually very accurate. And we are heading towards, I love what you shared, Versan. It takes two to tango. And the only thing that comes to my mind is XRP and XLM. I always say that for me, I do think we're going to have a multitude of currencies and blockchains, but I think you do going to have the main ones. And for me, those rails are going to be Stellar and Ripple. I do think that there is no other choices, as that's why my two main holdings are always XRP and XLM.
And meme coins. I'm just kidding.
Don't,
Listen, I know everyone's on that meme coin
go there,
hype.
Versan.
There you go.
We're not talking about meme coins, guys. And yeah, that was something else.
He's not just buying them; he's creating them.
Listen, I'm going to make something very clear because I got my audience listening too.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not creating anymore, and I was trying to experiment and learn about it to, to also be able to say like, hey, I created my own crypto. I wanted to experience it. I didn't realize, but when I saw the numbers in there, I really had restraint, which is, I think, something, that most of us should have in this space. I had restraint to not sell my position, and I was holding the largest position. So I promised everybody I'd be the exit liquidity. And I would take the loss at this point, because I realized how much responsibility was in there. And I didn't even have the motive to hit that sell button because I knew what I would be doing. You see what I mean, guys? I'd be dumping on the market. And I realized, wow, I wish I never did this, but I still shared it with people. But I didn't tell anyone to go invest in it, but some people did. I just want people to know that I'm still holding that bag. And I'm encouraging you guys to get out while you can and take the profits. I'm not going to touch it. I'll take the loss on it. I have so much XRP. I'm not even concerned about losing 1,000 XRP. It's okay. So I want to put that out there, guys.
To your
not
point
again.
And and that I completely appreciate that perspective that you have, because being in that position and you realize, when you're sitting on a position like that and how you could really harm people in a big way. And this is where I feel like the Ethereum founders literally had absolutely no conscience whatsoever, because there's no limit to the amount of Ethereum that can be minted. We don't even know how many these whales actually had, and in the very beginning, how much they bought into it. And we've watched certain situations where we know for a fact that there's been absolute dumping on the market, and yet they turn around, they'll point fingers, at Ripple holding such a large escrow. But Ripple has been very conscientious about how they actually, move that out. Every month they unlock a big percentage. That's true. But 80 to 90% of that gets locked back up in escrow.
Yeah. Real fast.
And they have not, this whole FUD that comes out, they just dump on retail. That is hogwash. They have not sold any XRP to the retail market since 2019, right? And
quite the opposite. Ripple are the greatest XRP buyers.
Yes,
on the open
exactly,
market.
Edo. They're the greatest buyers. Yep. Great point.
And we covered the escrow quite a while ago. In fact, Edo and I did a podcast together on the escrow, and it did very well. That means I'm happy the message got out there. But Ripple dumping escrow on the market is not designed to short the market, to dilute it in any way. It's really designed to foster more inclusion, liquidity, to widen the acceptance and adoption of the technology. And as Ripple continues to get these partnerships, working with regulators, governments, you're going to see more investor money just move into these things. And you're going to need that escrow. And I always also thought that the escrow was to a degree allocated for the central banks. Who knows?
Well, we got 1,700 NDAs that we do know about that was disclosed, in the lawsuit. Now, we don't know who all the NDAs are with, but we know there's 1,700 of them. My guess is that some of those 1,700 NDAs hold some of that escrow position. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's very possible. Yeah.
Interesting number, 1,700.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Well,
should add a 76 to the end of that, and Mel Carmine would lose his ever loving mind.
oh God,
If there were 1,776 of them.
oh
Did
my
someone
God.
say milk on mine?
All
And
right,
he's a
well,
great guy.
listen.
He's a great guy. I like Mel
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, I
actually.
had
He's
fun
a
with
great
Mel
guy.
too, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is a great guy.
Someone
You
said,
know.
"Fix my hair, Vandal." I'm not. Oh,
I wish I had hair to fix.
like,
Are
I'm
you
just
kidding me?
on,
Look at this,
right?
you know, prick. Are you kidding?
Anyways, well, I'll let him know. Okay, thank you for that, Michael.
Yeah,
I
that's the
appreciate
most
it.
important
Thank
thing
you,
on this
Michael.
podcast right now.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'm not even joking. When we do when I'll do an interview with when I did one with Martin, when I did one with Gary Cardone, and I remember trying to really ask questions here.
Mhm.
But my hair was kind of messed up too. And someone made a comment there. I said, "What are your priorities?" That's the only thing I responded, right? But
It was
you know,
great seeing Gary Cardone at the Trump rally on stage at Coachella. So to
Mhm.
hear that you had him on your show is very exciting and encouraging those in the audience. I read an interesting post from Patrick Bet David yesterday. He posted a tweet stating that that new podcasters are essentially setting the bar for potentially the new political landscape. And
Yes.
I thought that was very interesting comment, and to see the similarities or the comparables or in the same ideologies and people that are in leading this X spaces or leading these YouTube channels to now be at these rallies or to have a microphone and a chance to speak, I think it just makes sense. And
Yeah.
so
And I put out, I called Edo yesterday. We've been doing a lot of phone calls. So I really appreciate that, Edo. He's a great guy. Edo and I were talking. I said, Edo, it's really incredible how just memes destroyed mainstream media.
memes.
It's funny. Yeah. Memes, right? It's funny. The global narrative is collapsing because of a picture with a bear on it, for instance. Like,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Crazy.
Well, guys, we are at an hour. I think there's one more thing maybe we didn't get to talk about, but I think we're going to see the return to cheap money in the short term. You guys know what I mean? Like they already cut interest rates.
Yep.
And typically when they cut interest rates, they're going to have to. It's going to result in more rate cuts again. So I think that's the direction we're going. November, I believe that they're going to cut rates again. But I think we are going back to zero rates again. It's very possible because remember, we have an economy that thrives on cheap money. So as a result of that, you're going to see them need to print more of that cheap money and prop up the markets. But the thing is, like I had a client ask me the other day, like, Versan, I have money in a 401k and I have money in the S&P. She was asking me if I should remove it. And I don't like giving financial advice like that, because that's somebody else's wealth, right? But I was telling her that because they cut rates and they're going to print more money, they're certainly going to prop up the market. But as a result of printing more money, you're going to see higher inflation. So by the time your markets move up, right, and the rate of inflation, you're right where you started.
Yeah. It's like skating on ice that's just getting thinner and thinner and thinner.
Yeah.
Eventually, the ice is not going to support the people on top of it, and I think that's what we all know.
It's the same to think like Bitcoin now it's near to the all-time high, right? But if we compare that to 4 years ago, is it really a new all-time high considering inflation?
No.
Yeah, good
That's
point.
a good question, right?
Very good point. Yep, that's great. Like it.
Yeah. So, I think it's just, and I put a tweet out about this the other day. It's equally important for everybody to, I understand there's a lot of potential in the investment of the digital infrastructure, but you want to be positioned outside the system too. I talk to David about this all the time, and Edo. I'm very fearful of technology, to be honest. Okay. I understand the potentials, the pros and cons. You can sugarcoat it all you want. David knows where I stand on this, and so does Edo. Ray, I am afraid of technology. It scares the hell out of me. AI systems, artificial intelligence, it's nothing funny. It really isn't. But with digital systems taking over the financial infrastructure, the gateway of our future is going to be blockchain, AI, and quantum computing. That's the gateway to the future of where this is all going. So I just think it's equally important to be positioned outside the system, physical assets. So gold, you guys saw it made another all-time high, and it's going to only go up from here. It's crazy. There are some people out there who actually think that gold is going to be worthless. Can you believe that? What a stupid thing to say.
It's
And
never
even,
been worthless.
yeah,
Never
it's
will be
never, it
worthless.
stands the test of time. Anyways,
They're
so,
probably Tether investors.
anyway,
I'm kidding.
yeah.
But if I can close with one thought, it was to your point where we're not providing financial advice, but I was actually somebody who did liquidate my 401k. I did do that in 2020, right, due to the COVID Care Act, where we were able to do so up to 100,000 without getting penalized. And because of that situation, or because everybody in the world or in the US was affected by COVID in some capacity, basically everybody could have engaged with that I don't want to call it a loophole, but just say opportunity. And I did take that risk and liquidate my 401k. But by that time, I had already invested in Bitcoin. I was moving asset from various cold storage wallet to various cold storage wallets. So I was seeing how long those transactions took place, and I'm like, this is not scalable solution. What's next? And then I started playing with XRP, ADA, a whole bunch of different ones, XLM, and seeing that those had a potential for providing a solution for mass adoption, for scaling, for payments. And so then by that time I did roll my investment into XRP, and we're seeing this whole cycle happen again. You know, we're going into a potential bull run. We're seeing Bitcoin potentially go into a new all-time high. We're seeing meme coins come back, this meme craze. Maybe that's a distraction. Maybe that's what really bring another monkey pod to bring to grasp a new younger demographic. Who knows? But regardless, it's onboarding somebody's liquidity for good or right reasons. Who knows? To be determined. But regardless, though, we're seeing all that happen once again, or at least that's what I'm seeing. And so, and right at that time when we saw that all-time high with Bitcoin, we saw we saw Coinbase IPO at the very all-time high. So maybe we might see another blockchain company do the exact same thing, or multiple. Who knows? Now that we have the ETFs in place, and so being somebody who did liquidate my 401k and take that risk, it did work out for me. But that was also, this is a completely different landscape, completely different times. There wasn't a COVID Care Act loophole in place. So I don't know if the same possibilities or circumstances are, it's not really apples to apples. But as somebody, I did take that risk, and it's only and by doing my homework and research, it's only been it was a good decision. Yeah, but that again,
Happy to hear that. Yes.
for me.
Well, it
Yeah.
is a great decision. I think most people need to really consider it. I mean, look at the way things are going. The middle class is, it's something we used to talk about a lot. It's just that they're getting systematically wiped out, and that's not an accident.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. If your 401k is just returning maybe if 4%, maybe 8% for that given year, call that a high. But but when your money's getting printed at the same rate, or your inflation is increasing at that same rate, then you're back to where you started. And so for when my parents owned the condo next to me, and the first tenant in there, he had about 5,000 Bitcoin, and he had all the beautiful Rolls Royce, beautiful Jaguar, all kinds of Rolexes. And I asked him, I said, why am I, while he's smoking his exotic Cuban cigar in the backyard, I said, hey, why am I investing in my 401k? And as he's watching somebody on YouTube or Twitter or whatever, he was fully off the grid by that time as well. And so he just takes his eye off his phone and looks at me, cigar in his mouth still, and just all he did was just shrug, like, I don't know, dude, that's your call. But I don't know why you're investing in it, basically. And so here we are. We're coming to this crossroads again. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good point.
It's true.
Well, guys, I know
did you throw this up, Edo, or did you throw this up?
I'm always throwing everything up, and I just want people to be able to see this stuff and read it while we're having the discussion, really. Well, and I promised I'll work on the videos next time, so I apologize to the community for that.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to piggyback on what Ray was saying there, because I do believe, look, even last go around with
In 1
all the
second.
scrutiny that XRP was under, it did a 1,200% move. I mean, that is, you're never going to see that in a traditional market. And that was in a 4-month period from the low of 17.48 cents to $1.97. And nobody knew where the whole decision with the whole case was going to go. Delist it from every U.S. exchange, save uphold, and stuff like that. And yet to see a return like that in and of itself was life-changing enough. And so if we even just saw, a 12x return, in this market from, these numbers that we see today, you're still looking at what, a $6-7 XRP? Is a $10 XRP that difficult to fathom? I don't really think so. Not when you look at what's coming down the road. Now, obviously there's speculation involved in every investment. There's a measure of speculation. Otherwise, if you were guaranteed there'd be no risk, right? So, I mean, of course, there's going to be some measure of that. But the fundamentals alone are just screaming like I don't know how people can genuinely deny what's literally happening behind the scenes in the infrastructure for the financial system that we see coming. It's literally right in front of our face. Like Edo says, I mean, you look at XRP and XLM, I have never seen startups in my life that had the interconnected relationships with some of these international monetary organizations like these two have had. None.
Yeah. No. But to your point where you said the back to that slide 2 to Tango and Edo, your comment on the XRP, XLM, I mean, they're sister chains. And so it's in a way, it's like if you're going to have take 2 to Tango, duplicate the same tech and see how we can bounce that data and information and progress between each other. And so I thought it was it's a beautiful story, and I think it makes perfect sense. And the way that they burned the reserves for XLM to burn the reserves, I think was a great test to see, okay, what's the benefits, the pros and cons to do so, because it was at a time when everyone was like, XRP needs to burn its reserves and yada yada yada. And it was, so anyways, to see XLM actually do that and complete that exercise and having no effect on the overall
minimal
price. So anyways, I think it was just great to see that take place. Now how this all unveils is exciting and to be determined.
Yep. No, for sure. I agree with that, Ray.
Well, I think we covered quite a bit. Edo, do you have any thoughts, or what did I miss?
You missed the best part. You missed
well, just we have almost, actually we have about 5,000 people live, so just want to send a special
thank you
thanks
guys. Thank
to
you.
the audience.
Someone's asking, where can
Someone
you buy
asked a
IMF
question.
coin?
I just want to very briefly
Don't buy
answer.
IMF coin, okay?
They
I'm
asked
telling you
if
now, guys, please.
XDC. Yeah,
Serious. Yeah. Someone's asking where to buy IMF coin. Please
someone
don't.
asked about XDC.
Yeah. Zinfin's big, man. I think
a lot of these
Zinfin-
So I
technologies,
think
they
there's a
have
more
their
relevant question. It's about XDC.
aliens or demons. Oh my god.
And just answering, yes,
I
XDC has smart contracts. In my opinion, XDC will be the Ethereum killer. So
I think XDC has great potential. I mean, remember this, it's a not-for-profit blockchain type of thing, and most of their clients are all government. And for XDC, and for those who don't know, it just stands for Zinfin Digital Contract. Well, you need to look into Zinfin and where they've come from, all that kind of stuff. I mean, XDC right now is what, 2 pennies or something like that. What is most mesmerizing is you really can't gauge the potential in this space in a realistic way like you can in traditional markets. I watch some of these things literally be less than half a penny go to over 25 cents. Some of them, like, and that was VeChain. Cardano was like what, 3 and 4 cents when I first picked it up. It went to over $3. That 10,000% return. I mean, and Ray, you were there to see that. You saw Cardano do that. I mean, it is just mesmerizing to me that people will say, "Oh, well, that's just impossible." Really, you don't understand the global money supply if you're saying that.
Well,
and how money moves.
Real quick, guys, as far as investing in some of these technologies, the community who's been with us for a long time, we've talked in some way, form, or fashion about each of these technologies, right? Yeah. But you have to understand, when you're investing in these technologies, you're investing in the technologies that are going to be implemented behind the very same
Later on.
disruptions, the disruptions that you see, potential disruptions in the economy,
Yeah.
like supply chains, smart contracts. You see these things taking hold. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to be diversified.
I
I
had the
agree.
I had the opportunity of interviewing the CEO Sunil Senapati for the XDC Trade Network, and they're building on XDC and partnering with Crador. Those were the first the people that tokenized the bill of lading on the XDC network. But what, and I believe it was about only a $45,000 transaction, but regardless, the first successful one of many. And
Mhm.
but what I thought was, to your point about the whole standardization of protocols, that's exactly what I mean. We're talking about here is just using software, leveraging software solutions to optimize standards or protocols for a greater purpose within a business, for a business need or enterprise need. And that's what so the on XDC Trade Network and Credor, what they're doing is tokenizing trade documents within the framework. It's called M-Letter. M-Letter is basically like the acronym for the standardization of how they send those trade documents back and forth from one party to the next. And so, and here we are with XRP being a transmission or a bridge, a vehicle, a rail for financial institutions to send data or value back and forth between one another
Right.
through the ISO protocol or standardization. And so, where we're getting at is moving towards a world that's underpinned by software solutions, protocols,
Mhm.
but within standards or within rules or swim lanes practices that
Mhm.
are implemented by great or governed by large government organizations and agencies. And so
Yep.
it's not really much deeper than that.
Yeah,
I mean,
check
you're
out.
talking interledger protocol. That's what it is right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also, people need to check out Velo. Velo is
Velo.
a very interesting one.
Interesting.
Velo
Yeah.
is a platform for the issuance of debt and credit. And
Mhm.
the global economy is based on borrowing and lending, debt and credit, right? What's interesting is built on the Stellar network and the credit, debt and credit issuance of XLM holders, potentially. So
Yeah.
I find that to be a revolutionary technology, to where XLM is going, being a
Mm.
peer-to-peer transaction payment system.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyways, people can do their research on it. We put it out there so many times.
Yeah,
SHX
Velo
as
is
well.
really-
SHX is a good one. And by the way, just a lot of people have asked me, you could store it on your Descent wallet. Now, what you need to do is build a trust line, which will cost you one XLM token to build that trust line on the Descent wallet on the Stellar network to connect your SHX and your Velo and
Mm.
store it there.
Very cool.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Love Descent.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think we covered a lot of information here. Ray, it's been an absolute pleasure. We gotta have you on again.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
You're one of
Yeah,
us,
for
huh?
sure, for sure. Yeah, you're definitely one of us.
Well, we're one of you. How about that?
Birds of a feather flock together,
Yeah,
There
right?
you go.
oh,
Right.
and,
Hopefully,
thank-
we're flying in the right direction.
yeah. And I want to thank everyone for the birthday wishes. I saw so many nice comments on
Oh, that's great.
my YouTube channel. So thank you for
Very
that.
nice.
And thank you guys too.
Yeah. Did you get that
Yeah.
XRP community hat yet?
Yeah.
No,
No.
but it'll come in, you know.
On its way. On its way.
I actually have a video of it's on my desktop. They played a song at the club, right? My friends took me to the club, and it was the "Pump It Up" song.
Oh, no way.
And
Awesome.
you know me, when I go out in public, I'll usually just stand there and be cool, right? But when they played that song, I lost my mind. I actually started jumping around. I was like, you can hear me screaming in the video. I'm like, "Woo! Pump it up!"
You
And
didn't pull out your phone and buy more XRP right there?
no,
Yeah.
you know, but it was really fun. So I had a good time. Anyways, thank you guys.
Yeah. As a closing thing, if I can throw this out there, a lot of us are going to be down there, and there's a bunch of these locations, but XRP Unleashed is coming out. I think that's a big, big thing for this community, the story of XRP. And, if you're able to get out to some of these locations, you should try and do it. I know Houston is sold out completely. I think the same thing for LA, Scottsdale, but there's different places around. And, it's one of these things that, the great thing about it, you're not just going there to watch a movie. You're actually going out there to, meet different people that are, in the documentary, the producers of the documentary. Versan and myself are going to be at the one in Houston and stuff like that. You're going to have opportunity to meet up with folks that are in this space. And, I always say, like, Versan was up here one time and we were visiting. We were out to having dinner. And, this gentleman came up and he introduced himself to us, and stuff like that. And we always kind of say, hey, look, we're in this space. And if you see us and we're out and about, like, feel free to just come up and say hello and introduce yourself and stuff like that. Because, I always love to say, look, we create the content, but it's you guys out there, the 5,000 people watching this stream that create the community. And we really actually are doing this because of the interest in and you guys that are out there. And so if you're able to get out to some of these things and meet up with us, love to see you there. That's what I would say.
Same thing. Yeah. We're very friendly people too.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Anyone going to be in
actually,
LA? LA, anyone?
Anyone going to be in LA?
No, not going to be in LA this year.
Okay.
No, not that.
Okay.
I think DAI is going to LA. I think he's going
Can't
to
go to LA.
a bunch of different ones, But
you guys got to come out to Texas. All right. I
yeah,
can't go to
Texas is
LA.
where
I've
it's
seen
at,
too
man.
much.
Yeah,
Too much. It's too liberal.
Yeah, there's so many people in this space that are in Texas, man. It's like, wow, I didn't realize it, but there's a lot,
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be seeing you in Houston. I'm looking forward to it too.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
That's going to be fantastic.
Well, thank you guys.
That's all for
I'm
me,
also
guys.
seeing
That's all for me.
comments in here. All right. But thanks again. Birthday wishes in here too. That's awesome. new comments. But all right, guys. Yeah, I got things to do. I know you guys do too. Okay. So this was a great conversation. Thank you guys. And we appreciate all the support. Please be sure to follow our work and share this video.
Yeah. Edo, final words.
Feel like I'm taking a picture.
Thank you,
here.
everyone. We have over 5,000 people, so great number. And Ray, looking forward to have you again on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Edo. It's been an absolute pleasure for me. Great to finally meet you as well.
All right, guys. Well, that's
Okay.
it. Hey, take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, finally.
Love you mucho. See ya.